Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest has wrestled in some of the biggest companies in wrestling history, including WCW, NWA, UWF, WWE, and when it was WWF. Stepped inside the ring with some of the biggest names in wrestling history. We're going to be discussing them today. Please give up for Chuck Coates. Chuck, how you doing this weekend?
Doing good. It's good to be here. It's good to be part of this. I'm excited to talk with you.
Thank you very much for your time. Looks like you had a busy weekend, by the way. Was it college football that he's watching?
Yeah, big job.
I'm not going to pretend that I know.
Yeah.
But it looked fun though. I was watching the international football, so soccer, as you guys call it.
Yeah, right.
That's a crime calling it that, but yeah. So,
which is really real football. That's what they do. Where we
thank you, Chuck. We're already going to get on.
Kind of like I see it, man.
Love it. That's
football.
I'm still baffled.
You don't touch it, you kick it.
Exactly. It makes no sense, but I'm kind of used to it now. But before I discuss your wrestling career, your wrestling origins, I want to actually discuss a particular match that you had in your career because of my tweet and your response to it. So for those that follow me on Twitter, you're already going to be aware that it's what I do is honest opinion, and I'll mention like a wrestling name or wrestling match, and I just allow the fans to interact and sort of comment on, basically their true feelings. So you had actually been in the ring with one of the subjects that I mentioned, Sean O'Haire. So a lot of fans remember him from WCW and WWE. As you mentioned, working with him, he was very stiff with you, and the match itself, it aired on Sunday Night Heat in 2002. If you can tell the listeners about this match and your overall experience with Sean O'Haire.
Well, I do believe it was Velocity, WWE. It may have been WWE, WWF, Velocity. And we were, throughout my career, I knew my job. I knew literally my job. And but as I got along and as that Attitude Era came and all that, they started using me more, maybe like a mid-card guy. And so I would get out on the syndicated shows and be able to wrestle some of the guys. And Sean O'Haire was, I didn't know him. I never met him before. And all he knew was by looking at me who I was. And I think they gave us eight or 9 minutes. And I'm just called like I see it. I mean, he went out there and was almost a shoot. I mean, we kept within the professionalism of pro wrestling, but it was almost like I don't know if he didn't respect me or he didn't think I could, he didn't know who I was, so he's going to make sure he took control. But we call it snug. He's very snug business, and from the tie up to the headlocks and all. And I just thought, I didn't know if it was a personal thing or whether he wasn't trained properly or what. But the worst part of the match though was when he does that kick to your back. He had me sitting in prone position, and I left him open. And you give him your body as you're supposed to, is my part. I gave my body trusting him, and he kicked me so hard it literally, it took my breath, and it took me 5 or 10 seconds to really regather myself. By the time I got halfway available, able to get going, and he kicked me again. Boom! His kick pad make that pop, and the hardest I've ever been kicked in my life, and I've been kicked by a lot. And like I said, and afterwards, the whole experience was like you just didn't know which way. And I'm about as easy going. Anybody knows me, I'm as easy going as they get. I try to avoid confrontation. I don't. If there's a problem, I try to. I just do my best to stay away from issues and conflicts. And but the whole time, from the minute we tied up to the minute we got done, it was almost like a intent. It's just like getting ready to explode. And it went good. Everything went good. And in the wrestling ring, you've probably been told this before. We're really running on adrenaline. Unless we break something or have a severe muscle pull or tear something, get knocked out, obviously. But most of the bumps and the stiff, you can absorb it because your adrenaline, you don't really feel it till later at night. And we got back to the back, and he thanked me. He said, "Thanks, man." It was all it was. I said, "Yeah, no problem." But it's just a weird experience because, like you said, I've had the opportunity to be in the ring with some of the great. I'm honored to say that, and being on the receiving end, that's fine. But him not really being a Lex Luger or a Ricky Steamboat or some of these other guys I work with, he was kind of his in ring professionalism wasn't what I would call. I just don't think he looked at me as most another job guy rather than, hey, who's this guy? He's a wrestler trying to make it. And that's from my heart. And like I said, we shoot here, as you said, you ask a question, you want truth. And so just tell it like it is. It wasn't a great experience, but we made it through. We didn't get hurt. A little sore next day, but his job. But he was very stiff, to sum it up.
Shitty that he was kind of, reckless with you in the ring, but then he actually kind of, he was like kind of went 180 and then thanked you after the match. Was like, yeah, thanks, well done, mate. Just okay.
Yep. he thanked me because he was taught to say thank you. He didn't thank me because he was sincere.
Yeah,
I just And so I did what I was supposed to do, put him over, $1 to make, and that's the way he looked at it. And never saw him again. So, but it's part of the job. I go out there knowing, I'm gonna get all kinds of personalities, all kinds of, techniques, different styles, wrestle like amateur guys that can wrestle like, put on a show type wrestle, and guys that can't work at all, and you got to kind of carry them. I've been there. Not that I'm expert, not that I'm great, but I mean, I was trained by one of the best, Nelson Royal himself and Gene Anderson. Looking back, that's pretty big names. When everybody said, "Who's you trained by?" You throw names like that, they know that you were taught the right way. So I always tell people I was just one break. One wrestling. A lot of a lot of guys. It's just right time, right timing. It's all about timing. Right place, right time. So many guys have gotten breaks by so-and-so's booking, and so-and-so saw something in him, and so-and-so, and just wasn't in the cards, and that's fine. I did what I was supposed to do, and made a decent living.
Hello there. I've got a special announcement from the next guest.
It's your boy, one half of Act 2, Jack Knudsen, and I will be appearing on the What Do You Call It podcast.
You heard. Before I do discuss some of the other names that you've been in the ring with and the companies that you've been in the ring with, and you just touched on it just briefly, like where you trained, but I just want to even go a bit further back, and I want to know why she made you a wrestling fan in the first place and basically inspired you to become a wrestler.
Yeah, my dad, to be quite, just tell you the facts, my dad was a wrestling fan, and I'm going to tell you something. A lot of kids had different ways they were disciplined as a youngster. We're talking 1970s for me. And my dad's way of discipline is, and I'm not talking about hardcore, jerk a knot in your head stuff. I'm talking about the simple things like, you didn't do your homework, or you didn't learn your multiplication table, whatever. No wrestling. Guess what? I learned it quicker than any other measure he'd taken. So my dad's a big wrestling fan. He took me my first match that I can remember. He took me. It was 1978 in a local venue here in North Carolina. And the Dorton Arena, and I remember Wahoo was there, and Brute Bernard, and Johnny Weaver, and the oldie goldies, and I was instantly hooked. So as an 8-year-old boy, I guess I was hooked, and that was my reward because I did good, got a good report card, and we watched it on Saturday nights, and he'd watch it rather and allow me to watch it with him.
Yeah,
and we had fun, but that's how I got started watching it with my father, and. I don't know, long age 13, 14, I decided I want to do this one day. And people in school, everybody has a dream, baseball, football, basketball, whatever, Broadway, actor, actress, whatever. And I wanted to wrestle. So sure enough, I did. I made that happen. During years, I decided to go and train under one of the best, Nelson Royal. It was Charlotte's about 2 hours from here, Mooresville, North Carolina. So it wasn't too bad of a commute. And we did it, man. And then, it's like the gates opened and opportunities come flying everywhere. And this was in the late 80s, And so just missed the Jim Crockett era. They were just closing up. By the time I got started good, WCW was coming in. So
in the late 80s, yeah.
Yeah, I was at that part. So I just missed just Jim Crockett and the Russians and the rock and rolls and the midnights and all that. And that's what I was
in your backyard as well to sort of be a part of that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, and it's so surreal knowing that the guys I was watching, paying to see, entertain me in the wrestling. one day, peers of mine, people I know and call friends and actually work with. So I never thought in a million years that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But little did I know, fast forward 20 years, and I could look back and say, wow, I'm having dinner tonight with Beautiful Bobby or Ricky Morton. These are people I loved to used to watch and pick their brains and learn all I could. They've been so gracious. Those older school guys are so gracious to help, free of charge, just talking to you. And if they know you're serious about it, they're more than willing to help. So God bless those old school guys. I can't even name one off the top of my head that didn't look at me as one of the boys, and for that, I'm grateful. It helped me tremendously.
No, that's good to hear, man. Like, you're just part of the community already. And
Right.
I want to know briefly if you do remember like your official in-ring debut, the first ever match that you ever had. I just want to know a bit more detail because I actually like asking this question because every answer is 9 times out of 10 it's going to be different. And I think everyone sort of has a kind of unique experience. But I'd just like to hear about your debut, Chuck.
My debut was in the independent circuit, and we heard about it, and a word went to a friend to a friend to a friend and said, well, tell them to come in. We can use them. Mm-hmm. So we showed up. Didn't even have a pair of boots. And I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you laugh. We didn't have wrestling trunks. This is actually literally my first ever in a real wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
We showed up and we went and bought, you're going to laugh, the underbriefs that cheerleaders wear because they look like wrestling trunks. We didn't even have wrestling trunks, but we bought the extra large. Thank God they had large cheerleaders because we bought the biggest ones, and we were actually out there in cheerleading briefs, and it looked good. I get a pair of boots to match. I borrowed them that night. My friend borrowed them, his pair, and they let us work first match. Bobby Rose and the Cobra, that was their names. We got stretched and didn't even realize it. We were so excited.
Oh my God!
They turned us every which way loose. Yeah.
Have you?
We had no idea
you ever wear them again? By the way,
never. I knew a little bit more about where to get the stuff. It's not like today. Everybody makes wrestling gear. Back then, there was only like 2 places. One was in Texas, and one was in Ohio.
Yeah.
And K&H Wrestling Gear, and this other place. So we didn't have the luxury like today. You can buy wrestling gear. You used to one from a distance was awesome. You make your own, So,
bloody hell. I might have to.
I guess you can call me old school now.
Just a thumbnail if you were the cheerleader outfit. No, that's cool. I can't say I've heard that story before.
Yeah.
So as I've just discussed your wrestling debut and what made you a wrestling fan and just getting the origins of Chuck Goes, before I do touch on WCW and NWA and WWE, I've got to ask you, because for me, it's the first time I've ever discussed it. You worked briefly for Herb Abrams, UWF. So it's become a bit of a wrestling legend now, the company and the owner, amongst wrestling fans, and even had its own episode on the dark side of the ring.
Yeah.
I want to ask you personally, so
Right.
how was your time UWF, and did you ever interact with Herb Abrams?
Not much, maybe just walking by, but a lot of the things I did there, I was wearing a hood because anybody, if you can work and wrestle and they'll give you a hood and say, you're going to be the, the flying cyclone or whatever.
Is that when you used the helmet?
I didn't really get, yeah, well, that was Hans and Helmet. They were part of later on we became a tag team. But my partner, Chuck Smith, Helmet, he was the actual one that started that. That was him.
Oh, right.
And
okay.
I came in a bit later, but we were he was a German stormtrooper, and Manny Fernandez brought me in as a tag partner, and we were the stormtroopers in the South Atlantic. In the South Atlantic Pro Wrestling, that was NAWA, if you remember. They produced so much talent. They had Rob Van Dam at 19 years old. We had Ken Shamrock, who went by Vince Torelli, Chris Chavis, the War Eagle, Wahoo was there, Manny was there, me and Chuck. The Pit Bulls from ECW came out of that group. That was solid. That group was solid. Too bad the promotion didn't make it. It came down to money, and it just didn't work out. But so much
talent was there, though.
Yes. Oh, man. I remember Van Dam, he worked with boots on, wrestling boots, before he started with the Robbie V and the barefoot. But he came in, it was his name, Rob Zelkowski, and he wrestled 19 years old. And he was out there, and you can see it, like, this guy's got something to offer. And I was about 7 years older, so I could see work. I thought this guy's got it. And who knew? The rest is history. Rob Van Dam's born, but he played his dues as well. Robbie V, and then Matt Burns in WCW, and so he made his way up. So,
yeah.
The ECW comes calling, and boom, there you have it. Rob Van Dam's born. So that was awesome. And but that was a fun time. But yeah, Chuck Smith was my partner. He's the one that did a lot of work for Herb, and I came along with after. Some people get that mixed up, but he did. He was the originator of the Germans. So he's great, man. I love that guy.
German Stormtrooper. Like, I just love wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, just for us to like have this conversation. Only wrestling, right?
Hold on just a minute.
No worries. No worries.
Somewhere. I want to show you. Here it is. This might give you a little better idea. That's us together. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah. That was that in the early 90s?
This is 1991.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's your partner that we've just been talking about, yeah.
He did it all, and then I came along, and there they have it, the Troopers. But that was us, and we had a good little run. We had about a year run, and then parted ways. He went his own way, and I started something different. Yeah, it's all about it. You just got to keep it real, and but we stayed good friends all these years. I just saw him last year. He's down near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I stopped to visit. Had a good visit. It's good to see your old friends, after so many years.
Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
You are listening to the Sweet Prince of Professional Wrestling, one half of Act 2, Benjamin Harland, and I will be appearing on What Do You Call It podcast.
Who better than What You Call It podcast? Listen to the episode and you'll get the reference. WWF and WWE. So you occasionally appeared there against some of the household names.
Yeah.
The Giant, Big Boss Man, Christian, Kurt Angle, and many more. I've rarely done this on the podcast, but I'd like to do a word association with some of the wrestlers that you've been in the ring with in WWE and WWF. So if we start off with, first time ever, it's awesome. Well, not first time, but it's been a long time. But with you, Chuck, I'm going to start off with Scotty Too Hotty.
He's that was later in his career, 2003. Scotty was awesome. We came out, and that was great because we got to work. We had 10 minutes. I got heat on him. The match was on YouTube. And this is after all my series of years with WCW when I was a job guy. I'm just going to call it. But I was actually getting to work matches. And the same with Sean O'Hare and Prince Albert, Hugh Morris. We had some matches together. And Scotty was great. We went out and did our thing. And he was telling me, hey, what do you want to do? Is he? Because I trust you, And we went up there and had a great time. He's a good guy, very, very humble. Let me do my stuff, and it
was pretty competitive, that match.
Yeah, I was really. When I went to the top, I didn't think he would go for it. I said I want to go to the top rope when I my finish. He said, "Okay, go for it." Most guys would be like, "Oh, we don't want to do that. It's a little much for a big card, match." And he said, "Go for it." And when he said, "Go for it," I said, "I'm gonna jump as high as I can. I've been waiting for this moment. Maybe somebody will notice." Yeah. And I jumped as far as I could jump, high as I could jump, and it worked out great. He said, "Pop up out of that, and I'll hit you with the worm," and it worked out. But he was great to work with, man. That was nice, really. I saw him earlier this year in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I went over and introduced him. He remembered. A lot of those guys have done so much. He looks familiar, because everybody has their little cliques. This is North Carolina, Hardy Boy country, so. They're my circle is Hardy's and Joey Abs is from here and those guys and all the guys. Shane Helms is one of my friends, Hurricane Helms. So we came out of the same area, a group, So
nice.
A lot of people they can't place your name because obviously they don't see you a lot, So I'd rather somebody say your face looks familiar. I don't remember your name than saying, "Oh yeah, what's going on? How you been?"
And it's like okay, what's actually my name, just to test them out. Like, okay, it's when they're doing that.
Yeah, right.
But that's
I look a lot different. I had hair then and no facial hair, so things have changed. But we all get older. Where exactly are you located right now?
I'm just outside London in Essex.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
So Scotty Too Hotty is actually on tour right now in England.
Very nice. Okay, good deal.
But
It's awesome, man. You guys are awesome over there. I have Coach fans in Scotland, and and I mean this. I'm not. This is by no means. I understand. That's just people that have heard of me, not fans. I used to pull for you, and it makes you feel good, because I'm just who I am. And when people actually watched it, and even if it's a work, you still knowing you had those guys. I liked you, man. You were something about you, and they're from all over the world. Technology is amazing now. This would never happen 25 years ago. And
especially with the internet, it just allows us to watch back some of the greatest times and the moments, and even some of the shows that were kind of forgotten about, like Velocity and Jacked and stuff, and even Heat. I used to love Heat back in the day personally. I used to be able to watch it on Sunday, or at least record it on VHS and watch it the next day, after school. Just not even just Raw, Sunday Night Heat, loved it. And then the undercard guys, the enhancement talents. Jobber, is that offensive, by the way? The reason I'm asking you, Chuck, right? There was
Barry Horowitz was great.
Barry Horowitz, one of the most famous ones, when he beat Chris Candido.
Yes.
Because he has lost for so long, when he did win, it meant so much to the fans and to him, and the commentators put it over. So it's those moments, and it's you guys are in a way the backbone.
Yeah.
Of a lot of these guys, their careers and their future. It's very important how good not just they look, but you look as well, in order for them to look good and be presented well. Because if it doesn't connect and you're not doing your job, then it just doesn't help them either, and no one benefits. Right.
You said something that's big. The commentators have got to do a good job, because and Tony Schiavone was always great at saying good things. And believe it or not, Paulie did some of matches. He was good about, Taz. Taz did great. He says in the Scotty match, if you notice, I don't know about Chuck, I don't know where he's from, but he's got talent. That little thing like that, people want to watch. Hey, maybe it's the next guy. Maybe it's the next star, And at one time, LA Knight had no idea he was going to be over so big. But here, look at him now. You just got to keep on, and just if cards fall right, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. Sometimes I'm glad it didn't happen, because I would have probably fell into the same. I'm just going to be honest with you, the partying and the all the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a blessing not been, signing that contract, and that money. It's easy to forget, hey, what's important, and you work so hard to get here, and I want to ruin it on everything that's wrong. And so look back sometimes, and realistically, maybe it was a good thing. But boy, I tell you, I've had a blast doing it, and I love talking about it. That's why we're here today.
That's it, mate. And I can tell, you've had a good career. You look very fondly on the memories that you had, and you like interacting with the fans as well. Just a few names as well that I'm going to follow up on with Scotty Schiavone and the World Association. Christian.
Let me tell you about that. That was a mistake. That match was, they put my name on there, and to this day he ribs me about it. That was a good friend of mine. His name was Drew Offnick, but he went by Drake Dawson, and they put Chuck Coates, and that's actually him, not me. So I never really worked with him. Yeah. If you watch the match,
he's got the tattoos and
friends, and he's like, yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's Drew. And to this day, we talk. He goes, "You took my spot, man." And I say, "Hey, talk to WWE about that." I had no idea they were going to put my name up there. But somebody dropped the ball on the, on that. But
even that's my gimmick. That's my gimmick.
yeah. He said, "I finally get the big screen, and you got your name on my picture." So, so
that's pretty cool. I actually didn't know that. No, that's fair. I mean, I watched it, but I didn't. Nikolai Volkov.
So who's another one? Who?
Volkov.
Nikolai. Oh, Nikolai and Boris in the tag match, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good. There was a spot in that match where back then we videoed, they could edit it. It wasn't live, and he wanted me to leapfrog him, and I said, "Sure, no problem." I didn't think about leapfrogging a guy 6'7", 350 pounds, and I went to leapfrog him, and I didn't go over him, and I went straight to the ropes, and on the second rope, and kind of hooked it. I thought, what do I do now? The only people that know about this is the people in Serena. Nikolai grabbed me, called me, and said, just do it again. Forget the leapfrog. So what he did, he shot me in and did that spin kick he used to do.
Yeah.
The spot was leapfrog, Nikolai, come off. He does the spin. He said to do the same thing. They edited it. You never even knew it in the. You never even knew about it. And some people say they think it was a rib, but I don't know. I should have probably tried it before I did it. But leapfrogging him's like leapfrogging a refrigerator. So he
was a big guy, wasn't he?
Small big old chest. And so that was, nobody ever knows that but the people that were there that night. But they edited it out and never even, you watch it on TV, you can't even tell what happened. But it was good. They both were good to work with. Very easy. Very, very much, the Russian thing was over then. And
I've got another one for you.
it was good.
Bad News Brown.
Yep. Oh, man. There's no story I can tell you. We worked him twice within like 2 or 3 months apart. They put us together twice. The second night I wrestled him, he did the ghetto blaster and he kicked me. And whole deal is his top of his foot hits here, boom. He kicked me too high. You can see this. His shin hit me. And he had to take his leg right in the front, swole up so bad he had to take the next day off. He kicked me and he kicked me with his shin, but he kicked. All that's coming is you just got to grin and bear it because there's really no way you can work that, to make you look good. And the ghetto blaster was really, but other than that, he was good, man. Boom. And he was very kind. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you doing that for me and stuff. And very good experience with Bad News.
Andre the Giant.
Other than hurting his shin, which is not my fault. Blamed it back on my head, right? Andre, good gracious. Man, I tell you, story about that. My second TV match out of wrestling school. Now, I told you about the little match I had in the Indies. When I got the call from Nelson, they were sending you up. About a month later, Nelson said they want to send you up to Vince needs some new faces. Are you willing to go? I said, I'm willing to go. I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Yeah.
I think about 18 or 20 of us went up into Wheeling, Virginia, WWF TV, whatever they called it then. First night I had Boss Man and Akeem. And then the next night in Toledo, Ohio, we drove up. And third match on the taping, Chuck Coach Paul Roma, which was cool in itself, tagging with Paul Roma, versus Haku and Andre the Giant. And I stared at that chalkboard. They had an old chalkboard. They put it out in front of the monitors and write it. Every TV, they'd write it. Whenever they had their meetings, they decided who's going to work with who. And I looked at it, and I saw my name. Now, here I am, a kid out of wrestling school, thinking my second ever match is with Andre the Giant. To this day, it don't seem
That
real.
is mental. Hello there. I've got a special announcement from our next guest.
Hello, I am Leon Gray, one half of Made to Last, and I'm going to be appearing on What Do You Call It podcast.
Yeah, I heard. That is mental. Your second match.
Oh, yeah.
Being Andre the Giant. That's
Now,
what I'm saying.
everybody knows the story. Right. Andre loved to play cards and he loved his wine. And there was no beer that day, but he loved his wine. He loved his cards. So Haku comes up about 3 o'clock. We had to be there at 1, check in. Okay, I'm here. We didn't want to come across. Hey, man, what you want to do tonight? I'm working for him, really. So Haku comes up 3:30. Hey, but Chuck Coates. Oh, yeah. Here's what we're going to do. He told me everything he does. I said, yeah. He said, okay, Andre will come in for the finish. But right now, don't bother Andre. But he's playing. I left him alone. He had his wine and his cards. And we were third match. The taping started at 7. Check this out. 10 till 7. Guess what? I still hadn't seen Andre. So I'm a little nervous in a panic mode. Thankfully, I watched wrestling, and thankfully, I knew what he does. But I wanted to hear it from him. I didn't want to make sure I had to make sure you want to try anything new and me mess it up. I heard this voice. We were actually waiting to go. Taping was going to start anytime, 7. Probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the show. I hear a big, deep, where is he? It's Andre. Haku's got him by the hand, kind of elbow, walking to me. This is him right here. He looked at me after all that day of worrying, headbutt, do not take bump, do not go down. I looked at him, I said, yeah, that's exactly what I thought he was going to do because I've seen him do it before.
Yeah.
That's all he said. Went out there. It went perfectly. After the match, he shook my hand, which was like shaking a 2x4. Thank you very much. You did a good job. And that's all he said. And then it went great, but it was very nerve-wracking. Your second match on TV ever, and you got to get the finish from Andre. And Haku says don't bother him. So you can imagine. So good experience. Thank goodness I'm still here to talk about it. But looking up, knowing he's going to drop the elbow after the headbutt, that's so scary. You're thinking if he misses 3-4 inches, I'm done. Because all his weight's come down his butt, right?
Yeah.
Here he comes.
500 pounds.
He landed, hit perfect. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Got a thank you from Andre the Giant. So my work is done.
That's
Fun
nice
time.
to be praised by Andre the Giant. That's a
Yeah.
massive, that's just second match ever as well. Team up Paul Roma, he's been around for a while in WWE at that time. Andre's tag partner Haku as well.
Yeah.
Like this.
In one match, I was in the ring with the toughest guy in the wrestling business and
Yep.
the most famous guy in the wrestling business. How pretty good.
Can't make it up.
And the word has it, I've always heard Andre handpicked him because he knew he was the only person Andre really feared because he knew how bad he was if he wanted to be.
Yeah.
So that was a rumor that he always picked Haku, handpicked him because they were going to make the colossal connection. Who do you want as your partner? I want him. You know, keep him on the side.
I've got one last name.
Yes.
Probably one of the most important names in wrestling history. Vince McMahon.
Oh, Vince, we had one encounter. It was just in passing. He told me, "Thanks for coming." I said, passing each other in the hallway. That was it. But it was good. He grinned. He smiled at me and thanked me.
Mm-hmm.
That was good enough for me. You know, he kept bringing me back, so I must have done okay. Off and on in 10 years, I had about from 90 to 2003. Yeah, there were breaks here and there. They might let you have 6 months off, a year off, but I had many matches from 1990 WCW, and then back then we weren't contracted, so we could work for both companies. No harm, no foul. You might see me in WCW 1 week, 3 months later, see me up north, and because we're freelancing, we can go where we want. But they never said that was a problem. They didn't have a problem with that. At the time, you only had so many guys to choose from that had trained for under really legitimate people. That's one thing. If you were picked to go up TV, it wasn't because they saw you at a local indie show. It's because somebody put a word in for you. And so we already had a respect from that matter. You don't call them and say, "Hey, you got any work for me?" I mean, you don't pick them, they pick you. So I want to add one more name myself, if I can.
Go for it, mate.
Add one more name to your.
You're the guest, mate.
Did you know I wrestled? Did you know I worked with Steve Austin when he was fighting Steve?
His first ever match. Oh, first TV match, wasn't it? First TV match in WCW.
Ever TV. He came in from Texas. They put him in with me, WCW Stunning Steve, and they said, "Go out there and see what you got." He made $500 that night, and they told me, and he told me in the back, he says, "I can tell you right now, this ain't gonna work." He said, "This gimmick for me is not me." He said, "We're gonna work. We're gonna roll with it." Hollywood, California. He said, "Give me a break. I'm from Texas." So we went out there. Steve worked stiff, but he didn't hurt me.
Yeah.
Even before Lady Blossom, he had Vivacious Veronica, which was a girlfriend of his who lived in Raleigh. They dated for a while before Blossom came in. So that was even before Blossom. That was a good match. We did good, and look, the rest is history. Little did I know, a lot of my friends, in my circle will say, "You made him famous. You're the one that put him over first." Just kind of a joke. But yeah. Then
they're not wrong, though.